Hey guys, it's July the 18th, 2025. This is Shane's World News Views podcast. Like always, I'll be touching on world news for the week and then I'll end with some sports news. So, to start off, the Genius Act was just signed off by President Trump. It's the first major United States cryptocurrency bill. So, like always, President Trump, he's doing, innovative things. He is an innovator, so great for President Trump. Also, today, there was an unfortunate incident in East Los Angeles. There was an explosion at a training facility, at a police training facility, where 3 officers were killed. They're still investigating. It's not a good thing. On to the next. President Trump was diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. So basically, it's a benign disorder. It is something where the leg veins are injured and it's causing disruption with blood flow. He was noticing some swelling like in his leg and his ankle area and some bruising on his hands. So the doctors say he's in perfect health. It's just, something where they actually suggest rest. But President Trump's always on the move, so I don't know how much he's going to rest and take that advice. But nothing serious, so that's a good thing. Also, great news last night that CBS was no longer going to pick up Stephen Colbert and The Late Show. That show will be terminated and it will end in May 2026, I believe is when the last episode will be airing. Unfortunately, you still got just a little less than a year left of this loser who decides to go on television and basically make what's supposed to be, somewhat of a comedy show where you're interviewing, other famous people, actors, musicians, instead making this into political theater. I wouldn't always put it all on the actual hosts or, these people that are, having shows on these networks. It's also to do with who owns these networks, who's funding these networks. Either way, Stephen Colbert, major fake news, promotes a lot of bullshit, creates a lot of division. He needs to be off the air. Good riddance, Stephen Colbert. I wish it was today and that we didn't have to wait till May 2026. You're a piece of shit. So good riddance. Great news. And President Trump actually tweeted out about it and said how happy he was. And he said, next, we got a couple of Jimmys coming, hopefully that they get the same news. Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, 2 other losers that are doing the same thing and just making it political theater on what should be fun entertainment shows where you're not talking about politics or thinking about politics. But again, I wouldn't totally put it on these hosts. I think it probably is, they're agreeing to do it. They don't have to, but I'm sure they're getting paid a lot of money. And supposedly I heard something where I think it was Jesse Waters that said Stephen Colbert is making $16 million a year. So supposedly they're going to end this show. They're not even going to bring in a different host for the Late Show. So who cares? Good riddance. Next, Donald Trump. He's still, even though we have Alligator Alcatraz here in Florida, he wants to still, at some point, reopen the original Alcatraz in San Francisco. Yesterday, Pam Bondi was at the facility. Doug Burgum was at the facility also. They're from the Trump administration. They were touring the facility. We'll see what happens. It will be another place that they can store a lot of illegals and criminals. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it's been used as basically a tour site where, you go on tours and you tour the facility and stuff like that. Just open it back up. Store more criminals. On to the next. More fake news was put out yesterday by the Wall Street Journal, where basically they're saying it was a birthday card, or I believe it was a birthday card or a birthday letter that was sent to Epstein from President Trump, where they're saying President Trump wrote him a letter and it had derogatory pictures where Trump drew women or something, or said, we have our secrets and we're alike and this and that and more bullshit. I mean, Trump knew that there was the potential that they were going to release this. He said from weeks ago, if they did, that he was going to sue. So he put that out last night also. This is fake news. This should have never been put out. According to him, he said Rupert Murdoch was going to get involved and it wasn't going to get out, but that didn't happen. So basically, Trump says he will sue the Wall Street Journal. He'll sue News Corp and Rupert Murdoch. So you're all getting sued. Fake news is coming to an end. Legacy media hopefully comes to an end. These people are sick. They're sick. And shit needs to be handled. And again, accountability needs to happen. And hopefully it's on the way for a lot of these scumbags. President Trump also said regarding the Epstein files, he told Pam Bondi, just, you can release whatever there is that, that's cleared, that is worthy of being released information. If it's names or situations that happened or whatever, we'll see what happens, because there's been a lot of back and forth with the Epstein files. But President Trump said last night, he said, I talked to Pam Bondi and he said, I told her, let's get it rolling. So we'll see what happens. Also today, Tulsi Gabbard says that she has declassified documents with evidence, total evidence that Barack Obama was behind the whole Russia narrative, which everybody always suspected. That should definitely serve Obama jail time. She said the evidence is there if it's shown and it's proven. But, again, let's see the accountability. I mean, we know that Obama administration, he had a lot of bad people working for him, and a lot of people were doing bad things. John Brennan, James Comey, a lot of scum in that administration. So, it's great news, but we want to see accountability, plain and simple. I mean, we could keep talking about, this and that and this and that, but until, somebody starts, suffering jail time, or, basically to where, you can't, that if you're going to play this game where you're going to make up fake stories, that you're gonna serve a penalty. Like, you can't do this. This is not right. This shouldn't stand. Not in politics, not in anything. So, regular people like me or we would be suffering the consequences. We would be in jail. So, like, these people, they did bad things. They committed bad crimes. They need to be held accountable, plain and simple. Speaking also of Pam Bondi, back to her for a minute. She did fire 20 people that were involved still in the government that supported Jack Smith in his prosecution attempts of Donald J. Trump, including Joseph Terrell, who advised Bondi and other senior Justice Department officials on their ethical obligations. And he was the top Justice Department official. So basically, this is a guy, he's sitting there and he's giving a bunch of bullshit advice, probably telling Pam Bondi, keep the Epstein files closed, don't do it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, who knows? I'm just assuming. I don't know if it was just that, but it's a good thing that you have all these extra people that have done nothing but support bad people in our government to be terminated. These people should not be in these positions. So good riddance, and good job by Pam Bondi. Also, the Supreme Court this week ruled in favor of President Trump, where the Trump administration could start going to work and firing people from the Department of Education. A 1,400 person employee layoff is planned. So again, like, Department of Education, we have like all these idiots in this country right now, unfortunately, all these dumb kids. Like, it's never been to a point where it's been worse in history, where you have so many people that are uneducated, that aren't getting jobs, that are just totally stupid. It's the same people that buy into the fake news. They're just idiots. They have no brains, and they're being taught by Department of Education employees. I mean, so, we need to get rid of the bad teachers, the ones that are indoctrinating the kids with all this bullshit, all this woke bullshit. And we need to get real teachers back in the schools, and kids, motivate them to learn and be better for a better future. Plain and simple. So there's nothing wrong with this. This is a great thing, and good for the Supreme Court and good for the Trump administration. Also, we have another communist mayor coming. For this one's running for the state of Minnesota, Omar Fatah. He's just like Mamdani from New York. Both of these guys, they're sitting up here and they're saying, everything should be free and the governments should run, the stores and the supermarkets. And, this Fatah says white people are bad. Basically, we're evil. If you're white, you're evil. Sick people, racist people, communist-minded people. Hopefully, both of them lose. And if they don't, and they get in and they make the Democratic Party even look worse, it's just going to be bad for them down the road in any type of major elections, like presidential elections. It's just gonna hurt their party even more, putting whack jobs, far lefties, people basically, ploying for criminal-minded people. They're basically cheering them on, their policies and all this crap that they're coming with. So, also, of course, getting rid of police or not even having police. Why? Mamdani says, why even jail people? He said this back in 2020. What's the point of jail? I mean, fucking batshit crazy stuff. So, scumbags. On to the next. Basically, the auto pen thing came out again, involving Sleepy Joe Biden, not knowing, what he was signing. So basically, he wasn't even signing it to begin with, but still not even being aware of what was being signed with the auto pens, which Rand Paul is still pushing for a criminal probe on Anthony Fauci, who was pardoned by the Sleepy Joe Biden administration. They had Anthony Bernal, who was an advisor of his dirty wife, Jill Biden, and they had Kevin O'Connor, who was a doctor of Sleepy Joe Biden. They had them in front of Congress and basically both pleaded the fifth, which means, okay, by law, you can plead the fifth and you don't have to answer the questions, but it really does say that you're hiding things. You knew that Sleepy Joe was in bad shape and, you were hiding it, and, you're hiding these, these pardons that were signed by auto pens. And again, they shouldn't be valid if they were not actually signed by that imposter's hand. They should not be valid. Therefore, they should be thrown out, and these people should be up for arrest that, Biden tried to pardon before they were even accused. Some of them were even accused of anything to protect them, even if they were accused, that nothing could happen to them. So fuck that imposter administration. On to the next. $9 billion in Doge cuts passed the Senate, where J.D. Vance, the vice president, was the tie-breaking vote. U.S. aid loses over $8 billion in funding, and the NPR and PBS lose over $1 billion. And again, U.S. aid, there's a lot of shit with money laundering, suspicions of money laundering going on with U.S. aid. Also, PBS and NPR, you have two more fake news networks that are just putting out too much bullshit to apply favoritism to one party, the Democratic Party. It's a very sick thing. It's good that they got defunded. Fuck all of them. Fuck them all. Fuck them all. Next, Johnson & Johnson, Joshua Reese. Was an employee, or is an employee of Johnson & Johnson. He was caught on camera, undercover camera by O'Keefe Media, basically where he's telling someone that the vaccine that they put out was not safe. It shouldn't have been put out that fast. It had, bad side effects and could cause bad things to happen, which obviously we know. A lot of people dying of heart attacks from these vaccines, particularly Johnson & Johnson, I think was one of the worst, if not the worst. So, and then O'Keefe goes and confronts these people once they get filmed on camera, and he shows them, and this guy's running away and he's hiding in the bathroom and typical shit. So also, President Trump, he came out with a remark that, soon Jerome Powell, would soon be fired, the Fed chair. He's not happy with Powell. He's he's not really doing anything as far as interest rate cuts. He's not doing anything. So Jerome Powell, I don't know if President Trump's actually going to fire him. He's hoping that he just resigns from the Fed chair position, but we'll see what happens. But fuck Jerome Powell. On to the next. Emil Bove. He's a federal judge. The Republicans voted in for a lifetime post in Senate, and that he have a lifetime post as a federal judge. And he has a lot to do with immigration, like what's going on in immigration, sending the illegals out of here. So of course, like the Democrats, they started like crying, and Cory Booker, he was whining, and then the rest of them were like walking out. Oh my God, he can't believe that you did this, that you voted this guy lifetime in as a federal judge, blah, blah, blah. Fuck them. More corrupt people. All the corrupt politicians need to be out. Plain and simple. We need good politicians, not accepting illegal money, not performing money laundering. We need good people in these positions that are America first. Plain and simple. On to the next. The Prime Minister of Bahrain, the Crown Prince, was at the White House. Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. I hope I said that right. So he was brought into the White House a couple of days ago. And, whenever President Trump hosts these world leaders, again, you're talking business, you're talking, tariffs, what could be tariffs issued, you're preventing wars, all kinds of different things are being talked about when you're bringing a world leader in from a different country. So it's always good to see the different leaders coming in and, talking strategy with President Trump. Also, another positive bill that was signed into effect by Trump this week, that he signed in the halt fentanyl bill into law, which means we're halting fentanyl from coming in this country, which is killing so many people. It's a very devastating, powerful drug, and that's a great thing. So good, more good for President Trump. President Trump also says real cane sugar will start being used in Coca-Cola. So we're going to eliminate corn syrup, which corn syrup should be eliminated from everything. I've been saying this. Corn syrup has very negative effects on, mental capacity. It's worse than real sugar. So like putting this sugar, real cane sugar, into Coca-Cola, it's, look, no sugar is good for you because it's got nothing like really positive that it's putting into your body, like in terms of, making your body healthier. But at the same time, real sugar is actually healthier than corn syrup. Corn syrup is just a cheaper form of sugar. That's why they use it in things. And, but it's actually worse for you. It's worse for your body. It, causes a lot of things to happen probably much quicker than real sugar would. Cancers, mental illnesses, all kinds of things. So that's great. And, with the MAGA movement, with RFK Jr., there's a lot of food companies that are following the trend, that are getting the natural products back into foods, taking out the red dyes, taking out the corn syrups. So good for the Trump administration on that. Also, Adam Swart, he's the advocacy group CEO. He was saying that he was offered $20 million to recruit anti-Trump protesters. So all these bullshit things that you see on television, all these Black Lives Matter rallies, and all these like no dictator rallies, and all this bullshit. These are people, like I've been saying all along, same way people are being paid to go to Kamala Harris rallies. They are hiring these people. They are hiring them. These people have better things to do. They don't give a shit unless they're being paid. So they're being paid. And that's, and he says that this did happen. $20 million, that's a lot of fucking money. So we'll see what comes about out of that. Also, more good news. James Comey's daughter was fired. Maureen Comey, a federal prosecutor out of New York. A lot of people say it's, Trump getting redemption on James Comey. But, look, I'd say Maureen Comey, she's trash just like her dad. So fuck her and good riddance. RFK Jr., he fired 2 top deputies at the Department of Health and Human Services. I'm sure guys that were not doing their positions correctly, probably maybe making illegal money off of, many things or several things, so fuck them too. And also, unfortunately, we have 2 deaths to report. I actually missed this one. This was in June, where Lou Christie passed away, the old rock musician, and Connie Francis, who lived here in the Broward County area. She was another musician. She just passed away. I was fortunate enough to meet both of them. Rest in peace, both nice people. That's it for world news this week. As far as sports goes, Yankees were on a little bit of a break for a few days with the All-Star game. They start playing tonight in Atlanta against the Braves. The Raiders will have, I think the rookies are in training camp right now, but the veterans will be there next week. Basketball, I think the Bulls still got some summer league going on. Hockey, the Blackhawks finally signed Anton Frondell. He's not going to play with the Blackhawks to start off. He'll be in Sweden next year for the second straight year, but then by the end of the year, he should come and at least play some games with the Blackhawks. But he signed a 3-year entry-level deal with the team, so that's a good thing. I think he's going to be a good player. He'll be a good forward for them. And that's really it. So this is this week's edition of Shane's World News Views podcast, and I'll be back next week with more.